Thank you so much for being here. I see so many faces I love, so many bright new faces, and I just feel like it's so special. All of us could be anywhere in the world tonight, and we've decided to share this time and space. And it's a unique offering. It's someone that connects with higher realms to guide life and business, and I know that it's not the most common thing in the world, and yet everyone is here to experience it. And I think it's because we all want something brighter and better in our lives and in the world right now. And we really could use the support. So I'm very much here for you. I want to use this for your time. I will just begin by thanking Erica. So we didn't know each other until the book event I had to launch The Power of the Divine Feminine in Business here in November 20th. And then synchronicity had us run into each other all the time. And then we finally stopped to talk to find out why and realized we share the exact same vision for the world, gathering people around consciousness and connection and what's possible. So we joined forces, and she created all of this. Like, I didn't blow up my own picture to life size. She took everything to the next level to give all of us an experience so that we could really feel this together. And I would really encourage you to come up and get pictures afterwards, and we'll email them to you as long as you signed in with your email address, and just to kind of create something that we can take with us so that the inspiration tonight doesn't end when we walk out the door. We can stay inspired and connected. So, to give some context for this evening, I have for 20 years been able to see people's spirit guides and angels and share with them specific strategy that can help them in life and business. And I was a 30-year-old mechanical engineer working at IBM when this opened up. I'm 51 years old now, so I'm 20 years into this. And I used guidance to manage my own life and make unbelievable life-changing moves that are all chronicled in my memoir. And then about 9 years ago, I was able to see other people's guides and started to do it for them. And I've had hundreds of CEO clients in 25 countries, and every sort of industry, discipline, challenge, opportunity you could imagine, small business, some of the biggest directors of the biggest companies in the world. I've kind of seen and heard it all, and I've really found out that leadership and business leadership is a spiritual journey. It's an opportunity to activate something in this world where we leave a legacy, a mark. And how we do that matters so much. It matters to our own health, to everyone and everything we touch, people and planet. And the whole book, The Power of the Divine Feminine, is my PhD research. I went on to get a social science PhD on what if we were to actually have business, which is, I believe, the most powerful force in the world, be a force of good. And what if it was operating like generative nature rather than exploitive machine? And I interviewed hundreds of people, CEOs that were doing this, a lot of them B Corp certified leaders. If anyone knows that certification, it's sort of a global gold standard. I was one of the first to get that certification from my consulting firm. And I asked them, deep questions about what they had figured out in order to do this. And what I found that was incredible is that it all boiled down to 7 core principles, which I'm sure will come out as you ask me questions, but it's all in the book, The Power of the Divine Feminine in Business. And that it all resulted in really measurable business success. They attracted the best talent. They retained the best talent. They kept loyal customers through difficult times, recessions, et cetera. They had huge profit increases when they went to thinking about people and planet first, as well as profits. So I'm hoping that as you ask questions tonight, I get to share some of the wisdom from these books. I'm not going to turn this into a lecture, but I am going to open it to you because I believe that in this room, there are people that are waking up in the middle of the night with a problem. Like, I always have something. I'm waking up in the morning with something, having something showing up in their field, and that's exactly the kind of thing your guides and angels can help you with. It is when it's a heartfelt question that could solve 70, 80% of your worries, and if it were to be solved and go away, you would free up a lot of your energy to move forward. This is when your higher hands want to help you. So I'm just going to ask you right now, in your heart, do you know something that you would love to have solved? Something that is getting you up in the middle of the night, something your team is talking about a lot, something that's showing up in synchronicities all the time. Maybe it's something that keeps crossing your feed, or people keep mentioning it to you, or no matter what you do, the same pattern shows up. This is the kind of thing we can dive into. So I welcome anyone to raise your hand if you feel like you have that kind of question, something that you'd like to know and get solved. What is your name while we're waiting? Brian. Okay, thanks for raising your hand first. That's not always fun or easy. I promise to make it enjoyable for
I
you.
like coaching groups, so I understand.
Yes.
So I'm actually working on two businesses. One is to coach men, and another one is an app that I've been working on for several years. It's a community platform to support 20 million LGBTQ people. So
What question do you have you're facing in your life in
how
leadership
can I
and
support
business?
20 million people?
Oh, I missed that part. I thought
Yeah.
I heard I designed it to support 20 million people.
No, it's been a journey for 5 years, and it started off post-COVID, right at the end of COVID, around mental health.
Right.
And that changed, and we're coming back to community, and then the question became, how can I create an intersection of community and experiences, but at scale? So I could only do so much, so how could I empower all the leaders to come together?
Okay.
So essentially what we're going to be pivoting to is like this algorithm that you write a story, and then based on your story, that's your algorithm, and we give you the power to connect with the people to make your story come to life.
Okay. So if I follow all of this, you have an app that's already doing something?
Yes.
And what exactly is it already doing?
We're about to change what it does.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's going away.
Yeah.
And the new thing you want it to do is, if you crystallized it, to reach 20 million through stories that are shared to
Yeah,
build
a
community?
networking platform that uses storytelling to connect people.
Okay, and so you're wondering what I get to ask? 'Cause asking the angels is it's like Google or ChatGPT, like garbage in, garbage out. So as specific as we can be about the question. And from my experience of asking these questions for 20 years, I feel like the question you may want to ask is, what are the potent next steps to scale this app to its potential?
Sure.
Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Okay, so I've actually never done this in front of people. I do it one-on-one with hundreds of clients, but I'm just going to have to close my eyes a little bit and see what I get for the download. And I actually will add that in my field, often my clients and people in small groups actually get their own intuition even stronger. So if you feel like you have intuition and you want to practice, it's a good time to just sort of open yourself and see if you get a hit. And then when I answer, you can kind of compare what you intuited to what the angels are saying. It's a fun way to sort of practice yourself while we do this in a group. Okay. So I'm getting that there's 3 important things for you. Okay, so the first one is that you need to harness the creativity of your team. Everyone has gotten into the weeds of the mechanics. And there's been such an operational focus that it started with passion, and now everyone's just thinking about the numbers and the mechanics, and we kind of forgot what the dream was. You need to reignite the dream. And the way to reignite the dream is to take your team into nature, off-site, and really ask 3 major questions I get. The 3 questions are, why did we start this? It's like, I'm just getting the Beatles would be like, they always went back, it's the music. Yes, there's a circus around us, but it's always the music. And that's how they made a big choice to stop playing live and just go to the studio. Like, you need to ask yourself that kind of question. Why did we start this? What keeps us coming to work? And I'll say it, what can we not do? As in, if we do all of this and this doesn't happen, what was the point? I get if you ask those 3 questions, you're going to reignite the dream. And that's going to give you some, I call it a North Star. And a North Star is what galvanizes everything. It took me a while to figure out my North Star. My North Star has remained. I keep questioning it, it never changes. It's every heart that could fly open from my work experiences it. As long as hearts are flying open because I put a book out or I got on social, then I'm doing my job. Yep. And the rest of it, I just kind of flow and let it pivot, but that North Star guides it all. And so you've lost your North Star, and this is the way to get it back to reignite the dream. The second thing you need to do is I'm getting 7, but 5 core people, and I'm seeing 7 and 5. 2 need to go. Not always easy, right? And I'm getting to share a few things on that to help ease it. They're getting me to share a story of mine. I had 10 staff. We had a sustainability consulting firm in Hawaii, and we taught kids how to energy audit their schools. It was a really cool program. And then these political things happened and the funding ended, and we'd only done 20 schools, and we had 200 more to do. And I had to tell my whole team one day after one of our sessions, like, okay, we don't have jobs anymore. Yeah. And it was maybe the worst day of my life. I don't know if anyone else feels this way, but it's like success is if you keep the business open, like telling the people that got on board with you and shared the North Star and actually did the work that like, it doesn't matter, it's closing was like my worst nightmare. And I remember being outside the school and I told everyone and they were like, what does this mean? And I said, well, you're going to go on unemployment. And they all broke into smiles and started doing cartwheels and back handsprings and doing like this choreographed dance. Like they were so happy to have a break, to have had the experience that they got from it. But they were all students and they were like, we can go on unemployment for the summer and just rest and relax and get some money in. So the bottom line is what I'm saying is that a lot of times when we let things go, it's actually for the better for everyone. And just like any plant, if you cut off the dead, shoots, then it can grow the strong. So you have to let two people go. And I get that you know who one is and you don't know who the other one is. Like one's really, really clear. And the other one you can find out by asking everyone, in this next chapter, like are you, out of 10, how into it are you? Like, is this your dream? Do you have another dream that's more potent than this dream? And if there's anyone that is slightly more potent than this dream, they're the one. And that's how you'll find out. And you'll be surprised. I get you're going to be very surprised.
Yeah, I know who 2 of them are.
Yeah, okay. I get that you don't know the second one. The one that you think is going is not going to go, and the other person is, yeah. So, okay, just keep that in mind to be open to possibilities that are different than what you think in this one. Okay, and then the third thing I'm getting is just they want to give you some very structured detail about the potential of all of this life force energy. And this is what's beautiful is nature creates by symbiosis in a way that serves the whole. Like just look at a beautiful, majestic forest to see the perfection of that, right? And so when you align your purpose and your actions with what's going to benefit all the components that are creating it and the whole of everyone else, the universe comes in. That's when the synchrony is happening. That's when I meet Erica and she comes and does all of this. Like, that's when the magic, that just things seem to go in your favor, go in the flow. And if you're using your mind and coming up with contrived goals and what you think the community needs, and it's not actually aligned, it's like putting your boat in the water and you think you're in the current and you're not in the current. So they want to tell you 3 things that will make sure you get in the current with this next pivot. One is that you think about a lot this LGBTQ plus community, which I do too. I'm not of the community, but I'm with the community and I live deeply in it, and it is my safe harbor. There's not many intuitive communities, right? So it's a place where I can really be myself. And I get that you think about this community a lot and you think you know what they want and need, and you actually have a good sense of it because you've talked to them, you've seen what's worked in your field already, and there's more to be discovered. You really need, I used to call it a listening tour, a discovery tour. You need to come up with 27-ish questions. As a PhD researcher, that's a sweet spot. 27 questions and asking up to about 30 people. And those interviews being 45 minutes to 60 minutes. What you'll find is you start getting categories of insight. And once those categories start saturating, meaning in like PhD terms, like you ask new people and you don't get new information. So after about 25, 30 people, you'll just be like, oh, we have all the meaning here.
Yeah, I've been working on that
survey. Okay, so great. So you really need to do that survey. And I'm just kidding, you were going to ask less questions and less people. Yeah, 27 people, 27, 30 questions, 25, 30 people. And that there'll be a lot of insight that comes from that, and pull out the 3 most powerful responses and make those your design parameters. Like those are going to tell you exactly what you need to do, and that's like the creativity of your team going into action again. Okay, how does all of that feel?
Very aligned.
Awesome. Do you have any other question before we move on?
Not at this stage. It feels very aligned with what it validated like kind of priorities, so that was good. So.
Yeah, good. Awesome. You're like, I get you're 90% on track. Like some people I work with, you're like 30% on track, and when I tell them this is like mind-blowing, yeah. You're getting validation that you're mostly on track with some tweaks that can accelerate things. Yeah. The way that I see this work too is because it works like nature, you have a path that you've come here to live as everyone has, and those are all meant to naturally weave together. That like, when I do this work, it's like permaculture. I don't know if does anyone know permaculture or heard about this? Just, oh, wow, just like one person. Okay, I'm going to do my best. You don't have a microphone, or I'd have you answer this, but it's like a forest is going to do its development over 300 years, and like a dead branch is going to fall into the sunlight eventually. And eventually that branch in the sunlight is going to get a whole bunch of water, and it's going to create little mushrooms, and that's the next step of the forest. That could take 300 years. Or if I understand how the forest works, I can go cut off that dead branch, put it in the sun, pour water on it, and like next month have mushrooms, right? And so working with me with the angels is like moving you along your soul plan. And so instead of, months and months of iterations, sometimes years of iterations, sometimes lifetimes, we can solve, like people have said one session is like, a year of therapy and a year of business consulting, just so much clarity. And we can only do it for an hour because you just got so much in this little time, right? Like at the end of an hour, people need to sleep for 3 days. But it's you could get there alone, and you already are. I guess is my point is that the 90% that you're on track is that you are moving yourself pretty well along it. And I'm getting, if we didn't get these little pieces today, it could take months and now you can move right ahead to it. So just to show how the process works a little bit.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Brian. That was a great question. All right. Yes. And what was your name? There's right behind you, Erica.
My name is Nadej, and I'm a business owner. And my main question is, I love what I do. It feeds my soul for sure. But I have so many pots on the stove, but I love all the pots. And this has been a struggle for so many years. And I am able to maintain all the pots, but I am starting to get burned out. But then every time I look at my stove, I'm like, I love every pot.
Nadej, I so understand this. Anyone relate to this, by the way? Can you just keep your hands up for a moment? Who's relating to this? Wow, that's a lot. That's like the majority of the room, first of all. Okay, great. Well, let's take some time with this one because it's going to serve everyone. I am getting guided to speak about the feminine and masculine energies that live in all of us. It's not gender. We all have feminine and masculine ways, strengths, abilities. My favorite combo for myself is really leaning into intellect and intuition, structure and flow. Like these are sort of complements that if you're just flowing and you have no structure, nothing gets done. But if you're just structure and you're not flowing, nothing's creative. So you're wanting to really bring both forward. And whenever there's burnout, you are looking at an over-feminine system. Burnout and over-feminine are a huge thing. Stagnation is when the system's too masculine. And we can all have this. I can show up for a date very feminine. I can show up at work very masculine. I can play sports feminine or masculine. You can just bring different parts of yourself forward. Sometimes I'm the artist, sometimes I'm the scientist, sometimes I'm the dancer, right? So you just play with all of these, but it's having access to all of them and knowing when it's time to bring what forward. And so your team I'm getting is over feminine. And there's a lot of passion and everyone loves it. And you're I get unspoken North Star, so you might not know this, but your unspoken North Star is as long as we love it, we keep doing it. If I get expansiveness, if I like it, I'm going to do it. I don't really go, it's giving me expansiveness, but I'm going to schedule it next week. It's like it's giving me expansiveness, so I'm going to do it right now. You're almost like all artists, which I've spent a year in Portugal after I sold a company just painting and writing poetry, and I was only feminine. There was no structure. And it's a beautiful, beautiful experience, but it's not taking your business where it needs to go. So you need to bring in some very specific masculine qualities and not lose that. So they want to give you 3 strategies. Okay. First strategy is that, they want me to explain how if you wanted to know what's on your path versus what's not on your path, the single best tool is to know what makes you feel expansive. So if your shoulders go back, universally people's shoulders and spine go straighter when something's expansive. And it's a really fun thing to play with when the stakes are really, really low. I've done it trying to find an office in a building I've never been in. I just go, is that hallway make me expansive or that hallway? And then I follow it and see where the office is. And that's how I've practiced for things like that for 50,000 hours for 20 years. Probably too obsessively. But it really becomes a fine art that you can kind of find anything. You're holding what you want and you're feeling the energy. You're like a bird, finding the air current. So you guys have this really well that you can recognize what lights you up and that it's an important piece of what you're doing and you're supposed to go towards it and you're not going to not do that, which an over-masculine system wouldn't care and would be it's not directly affecting our KPI or what our numbers, we're not doing it. So it's really great that you have that. Now we just need to add in structure for when you experience it. So when your team experiences it, you have 3 questions to ask. Does this have to happen now? And I'm really getting the best tool for you specifically, and they're wanting me to note not everyone in the room. You might want to adopt this, you might not, but for you specifically, the best thing you can do is slot it in a schedule as far off as possible. For example, if you had an opportunity to work with an influencer and they're like super excited about it, you could say, what's the longest we have to work with this influencer? And you could ask them, when would be the best time at the latest date for you? Like, could this be a next month thing? Could this be a thing around summer solstice? Could this thing be a thing around, Labor Day, back to school? The way that you do it right now, your go-to, your default is let's do it now while it's hot. But who's to say that, oh gosh, they're reminding me. Okay, I remember when I was in Hawaii for 10 years, and I ran the sustainability movement there the whole 10 years. And I remember when I first got there, I had a vision, like literally a vision of an event that was so incredible, and I knew it was going to be like the best event that ever happened in Hawaii, and I had like 30 people wanting to do it, and we got started on it. And then my computer and everything got stolen twice. And afterwards, I was sitting with someone else, like on Diamond Head, looking at the ocean, crying. And I was like, why? And we went to Intuition, and it was like, that event is supposed to happen at Earth Day, which was like 7 months away and felt like forever. And we waited till Earth Day, and we did the event then, and it was the biggest event in history, and it launched the movement for 10 years, and we had all the press and everything. It would not have been the same if I did it sooner. So it needed all of those steps and iterations, and if you don't jump on it right now, the feeling is it's going to go away. But actually, it gives it time to breathe and grow and become. In fact, this event was scheduled last month, and it got canceled. And look at what Erica did in the meantime. So that's the first thing is, wait. How long can we wait? And the second thing is, and they already kind of touched on it, is find some natural milestones to connect this with. Mother's Day, the summertime, let's wait till the fall. This is this is going to take us being inside and really doing research. We don't want to do that in the summer. Why don't we put this on why don't we do this in the fall? This is a great winter thing. We need to write. Let's do writing in the winter. Like, I'm just seeing like your team would really respond to lining up to the natural rhythms. And there'd be a reason to slot it in at another time, so to line up with nature. And then the third thing is, this is specifically about you and your leadership, is that you have a default that anyone that comes to you with anything, as long as it feels expansive, you will give it all the time it wants. Like, if someone comes to you and you're in the middle of something, but they are lit up and they have an idea and they want to cover every whiteboard in sight, you will stop everything, and it can go on for 5 hours. And and I'm just getting that this is creating a lot of problems. It's inefficient, which is a masculine quality. We need efficiency in business. It's draining for you, yeah. And often we think it's wonderful to receive anything anyone wants to bring to us. And there's something beautiful about really checking in first and saying, oh my gosh, I can see how excited you are. I can see you want to cover every wall in my room. I literally have 30 minutes. Can you give me the 30-minute version? As I say to my best friend, Anya, I'm like, do you have time for the headline or the rant or the novel? And she's like, headline. And I'm like, okay. And then later on, she'll be like, okay, we're hanging at the beach or whatever. She's like, give me the novel. And I'm like, okay. You're allowed to say, this is what I'm sourced for. And that keeps the energy potent rather than it being a drain. And they can still get it out, and it can still be in the mix of things. So I just get you do these things, and everything is good with you guys. Does that feel good?
Absolutely.
Yes. Awesome. Anyone think they're going to take any of those suggestions? Hello, yes. Okay, next question.
So in about 3 weeks, I will have 2 websites coming out that feel like they're my babies, So first is my own website, my services. I'm a coach, I'm a channel, I do automatic writing, and then I have a coaching platform. So I just want to make sure that I will be fully free to express myself. My people around me, a lot of entrepreneurs, And so, but I will show all the side of me and also the channeling. So
Sister.
Yeah, I know. And so,
Wow.
so I'm happy you're here.
I'm
Thank
happy
you so
you're
much.
here.
So
I don't have many colleagues.
Yeah, so thank you for showing me also the path. So I just want to, my question is like, how to be fully free to show myself, all the side of myself. And I'm also launching a jewelry line with Marie on
Same.
so
I made these earrings.
amazing. Voilà. So I
Yay.
just want to feel free to expose myself, and I want to make sure that I will be fully ready. Is there anything you want to tell me, or my
Sure.
guides, my angels?
Oh,
want to
I
tell
love
me?
this. Well, congratulations,
Thank you.
first of all. And I mean, I'm getting tears because I'm just feeling decades. It is
feel
not
it.
easy, the path that you and I have chosen.
Yeah, I have goosebumps.
Yeah, I understand. And if I'm getting the question right, and I'm getting a refinement, so I'll share what the refinement is. It's like, ultimately, if you could know, how can I specifically show up? And I know authenticity is core for you. I can feel it. So how can I specifically show up to be the full fuel for the potential of this next era? Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, great. I'm getting 5 things. So 5 things of how to show up. Okay, what I see visually, and maybe you can use your intuition too, is fun. What I see is you coming in very much wearing an outfit like you're wearing, like the running shoes and the suit, and like really owning your style. And I'm getting that you wonder about style, but like they want you to know you have nailed your signature style. Trust yourself entirely. No other person, you could pay $1 million to someone, they could not do better. You nailed you. Is it true? Yeah. Yeah. And all of us wonder that. Like, I wonder, is this the right dress to wear tonight sitting up there? Like, what does it say? I was going to wear something really flowy. And I'm like, maybe I'm smart businessy. Like, these are questions we all have, right? We all are going to show up in some way, and really how you show up is seen first. So, but they want you to know, ultimate confidence, never waver. There's no one to look to. You've got this. So for the fashion, done. Okay. Then the second thing is that I mean, it's kind of personal, but I see a masculine, a man around you. And I get he's sort of like wanting to find out how to support you. He's sort of looking in, seeing your amazingness, and like, how? Like, just tell him. Just straight up, just be like, you know what I really need? When I finish work on Friday, I need to have a beautiful night out. I need to not think about work, or I need this ride, or he would love to respond to your needs. How does that feel? Yeah. And I just get that, and I get this is for all of us, including me, like, there's a lot of he should know, and he should know what to do. If he cares about me, he's paying attention, he should know. And we could solve a lot of problems by just providing heartfelt invitations. Like, heartfelt invitations, like, I'm really feeling this desire to, or that we would, or and do you want that? Does that fulfill you too? And just take it out of the he should know realm, or they'll just do it if they know, and really bring it into the, I'm going to give invitations, I'm going to express desires, and he's going to fulfill them if he wants to. I always say relationships are not compromise, they're co-creation. And you need to put everything on the table so you can co-create with the pieces. And he might be like, I can't do that Friday, but I could do it Saturday. Is that enough? Then you co-create. Cool. Okay, so the second thing is, like, let the masculine support you. And by the way, I asked the angels specifically after I finished writing all these books, like, again, tell me the most crystallized version of what masculine and feminine are, just words. And they were like, the feminine is anything that flows, and the masculine is anything that holds. So the feminine is really wanting the masculine to hold her, and she needs to invite that, and he wants to, but sort of patriarchy messed that up and said, oh, to hold her, this is what that is. And we're saying, we don't want you to do those things patriarchy told you to do. You don't have to protect me from other men. I'm not your property. You don't need to do this. But you can also be like, and I say this to men, I love my door being open. I love being taken out. I love when you select a couple restaurants for me to choose from. I love when you have your arms around me while we watch a movie. Like, invite the holding in your way. And that's how we all transcend patriarchy together. So it's very specific. Okay. 3 more things. I'm seeing this they show me things. I'm seeing this chandelier system up here with like the lights going up in the two layers. And they're basically saying, like, who you're speaking with is 2 layers. You have this first layer of people like me that are like, oh my gosh, she's an intuitive too. And a lot of people are coming into their intuition now, and they're looking for a role model, someone that's doing it in a clean, healthy, safe way, that they know it's actually information and not just their mind. Like, these are the things people are looking for, right? Their natural ability is opening, and they're sure that it's a real thing, and they're sure they have it. Now what? That's the first layer of who you need to address and be there for. And then the second layer is something way lighter than that, which is just women boldly picking a path that's unique. Someone that just knows themselves and knows that this is their calling, and you could be doing it in any form, it doesn't matter, but there's going to be more of a movement around that other layer. And they want me to sort of liken this to when I started the sustainability movement in 2003 or something. It was the deep greens were the ones that had devoted their life to it, like me. Like, we were activists and humanitarians that dropped everything, left corporate, didn't have families, just like, we were like those people. And that's your first layer, is the ones that are like, I'm intuitive, I'm ready to go for it the way you're going for it. That's your deep greens. I call them deep purple now. And then the other layer is, I just want to be awake to my authentic self, and authenticity is your core thing. So when they see you doing authenticity your way, whatever it is, whether it's jewelry or whatever, that's your bigger movement. And those were the light greens. Those were the thousands of people that came to my Earth Day event that probably didn't think about it outside of that. But they created a movement. They created an economy that wanted to buy from the deep greens. So just make sure you're serving both all the time. Okay. And then the fourth one, they're taking me back to these 2 layers. The fourth and fifth are still about these layers. Okay, so the ones that are most resonant with you, like me, they need a program from you. They need a program that crystallized what you figured out. Something that's digital, that they can go through like a 5-module course of you, and they can get certified, and they can have confidence in using their gifts in some very clear ways that they can get immediate validation and trust themselves. You need to design that, a 5-module course. And you say how you did it, and then you give them little things how they can do it, and they leave feeling confident to practice trusting their intuition. And then the final thing is the other group. They need your jewelry. They need your jewelry. They need a visible symbol of the movement, which is why one of the things I'm bringing to market of these earrings is that when you see someone wearing their earrings, you're like, oh, you're part of that. Yeah. They need your fashion. Okay, so those are the ways to show up. Do you feel? Yeah. How do you feel? Awesome. Yay. Yay. Wonderful. I feel like you have a really beautiful purpose here, and I really commend you for stepping into this kind of work. It's almost indescribable what it takes to, the sacrifices, to be this sensitive and still be in the world and do something that, like, you don't really have a manual or a teacher, and now you're the teacher. Yeah, I get it. Stay in touch. Okay, we're going to go back over here, and then we'll go to Kristen after.
Hi, Dr. Sophia.
Hi.
Nice to see you again.
Yeah.
I've met you in passing with Erica.
I remember. Nice to see you again. Thanks
nice
for
to see
coming.
you. Yes, I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to hear everyone's stories and their shares. And
Yeah.
I just want to say first, thank you for being here and giving us your intuition and your presence. It's
Aw.
really important to acknowledge that.
Thank you.
And two, I'm going through something where I'm having a career transition in my life.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I want to learn how to be more expansive. That's the word that's coming to me, expansive. Sometimes I think it needs to be one way, but I'm sure it could be many other ways. I know you spoke about synchronicities, and I see those showing up in my life. So for me, I guess the words that came through was just clarity, career transition, and direction. So,
I love all of this.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
going through a change.
Yeah, wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. That's the only thing that's consistent. Okay, I'm going to share a few things with you. First of all, I created a course like the one that you just got guided to create, and it's on my website. And the first module, a couple modules are free. And the first module I would encourage everyone to try, which teaches you how to, it's a guided meditation to access that expansive feeling. And it's very specific. It takes you into a place where you last felt it and helps you identify where in your body you felt it and how you knew and how long the signal stayed and a time when you didn't have that. It takes you like in a whole bunch of different angles of realizing that signal. And then the goal then becomes continuing to recognize it as many times and places that you can and test it. Like I used to go to parties just to see if my expansiveness signal was right. Like I didn't want to go out, but I'm like, I just got to find out. I'm a scientist. I got to find out. So I would just say, do that module because it answers your one question perfectly. And again, that's free and on the website. And then everyone got little bookmarks, and it gives you a free month of guided meditations. And those took me 20 years to develop. They're 20 minutes a day, and you get a new one in your inbox at the beginning of each moon phase because our energies cycle monthly with the moon phases. And I got taught this by the angels 20 years ago, and I very closely monitor what moon phase we're in while things are showing up in the world. And so I'm really getting strongly, you would thrive in that program. And again, it's a free thing. So there's 2 free resources right there. I'm really getting that you doing those 2 things, even if you did nothing more, you would very much activate your ability to feel your way to the next thing. And that's what my memoir is on, like Life Beyond What You Know. It's called What If You Decided to Live Entirely by Intuition. I was working at IBM, like I was saying, when I was 30, and it was just exploitive to people on the planet. And I was doubled over, like, in depression and anxiety on meds, and just like, I can't work 20 hours a day to just create pollution and exploit people. Like, and I had no other thing in sight. There was no other option for me. I didn't come from a family of money. I'd waitressed my way through school. I didn't know what else to do with my life. And it was me cracking my heart open and saying, like, I don't know what to do, crying in bed, and the next day 3 synchronicities happened. And those synchronicities, it was my engineering mind that said, this is improbable. Like, one of these things happening is mathematically pretty improbable, but that goes up a lot when you have 2 or 3 happening. So that's the next tool I'll give you, is that start to notice what's showing up in 2s and 3s in a short time. And get curious. Really, really, really curious. The last tool I'm getting to share with you is my book, like Living from Inner Clarity. It's like a 4-hour read. It's a potent crystallization of my best tools from 20 years of doing this. And I get if you did the 7 practices in it, again, you will perfectly align with that next step. And the 7th ritual is the thing I love to use the most to find out my next step of anything. And I basically say, okay, I open myself in curiosity and say, I'd like to know the next step of my going towards my most fulfilling, successful career path. Show me in the next few days, let me recognize that step, know what to do, and do so with ease and grace. If there's nothing to do, please take this thought from my field of worrying about it. It gets rid of the ruminating mind. And what I would find is, like, I would not think about it because there's nothing to do. And then a few days later, a step would appear and I would recognize it and I would do it. And I just started doing that before I went to bed every night. And it started showing me the path. Synchronicities, a dream would happen, someone hand me a book. So they wanted me to give you all those tools so that you align your operating system with getting your own answers. And so all of those tools, like, I think if you were to get the book and do all of those things, the total cost would be like $20. And yet you'll have all these different ways of accessing how you know that you know, and how you can get the universe to give you signs. And that took a long time to crystallize, but they're really potent and they work. So that's the first thing they want to share. And then they want to share 3 specific things for you that would align you to your next job. You have been, I mean, again, this is so personal, but you've been really doing what you think you should for a long time. We've all been there, and a lot of us still are there. And it really came from a lot of things outside of you, like what parents think, what you think you need to do to have a family, what you think you need to do to survive in this world and be safe and secure and take care of yourself in a world that's not going to take care of you, which who can relate to that? I think, like, yeah, most hands going up again, yeah. It's when we take our success and safety and unplug it from society's messages and plug it into our divine path that we actually really get supported by the universe and really create things that have never happened before and are so empowered by the experience of it that we can't help but know that this has to connect to trust because nothing feels this good. And then that trust opens you up to possibilities, and those possibilities deliver clients, deliver money, deliver all the things you need. So it's really, I mean, the exercise they're inviting you to do would be to make a list of who do you listen to when you're making a choice, and write down those people's names. I'm getting there's about 6 or 7. So who do you go to? Who do you want to make sure that they would like what you're going to do next? And then write down the main things that they say. Like they always say, make sure that you're making this much money, or make sure that you can buy a home by this age, or whatever they tell you. And then look at that list and see if it actually aligns with your desires. And I get that there's like 50% that you'll align with and 50% that are not you at all. And it's an opportunity to put those aside and then ask the universe, like, what's my next step to do these things that I have this fulfillment? And then the second thing is you're very creative. Like I see you with a camera, like taking pictures. I see you taking those pictures and doing something commercially with them, working with a creative team to create something like digital marketing. I'm not an expert in these things, but I just feel like a team looking at a story that wants to be told, and you just get ideas for the visuals. And you love it because creation keeps happening, and that's so different than what you know. Yeah. And when you don't have creation, you don't have the feminine, which means you're over masculine, which means it's stagnant, and that's no fun. And then just going off and taking pictures around the world and having it not be contributing to a story for a meaning and a purpose in a commercial setting, that would be too feminine without the masculine. So your sweet spot of the feminine and masculine is working on a team that needs to create a story that sells something and brings something forward, and it's something you believe in. Like Erica was like, took all her skills and used it for something she believed in. What this is, what I stand for, what she stands for. And imagine finding a company or an organization that you want to bring their story to life. Like, that you get to point to that and say, that exists because I was part of it, not just for a paycheck. That's your answer.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. How did that land for you?
That felt good to me. Yeah, that resonated with me internally.
Awesome. Yeah, you deserve to be free to your creativity, and you deserve it to be held by the masculine in a structure of a team that's doing something aligned on a mission you all care about.
I agree.
Yeah.
Thank
awesome.
you.
Awesome. My pleasure. And then Kristen, behind you, she was a surprise addition, a dear person in my world. Yeah.
Hi, Dr. Sophia.
Hi, Kristen.
First of all, it's so exciting to see you do this.
Yeah, it's so fun.
Our mutual friend Gertrude was telling me, she's like, she's so powerful. And she is.
Sweet.
Well, it's funny. I mean, you know what I do, but
Yeah, sure.
I've been running a book coaching and publishing company for the last couple of years. The book coaching company has always been very successful. The book publishing company has struggled horrifically, terrible. Like last 2 years are probably the toughest years of my life. And we recently transitioned into becoming a hybrid publisher, which has meant like a real change in abundance, which is awesome. It's weird to be like 2025 is the year of profit and fascism. Okay.
Fair. Yeah, fair.
I'm like, I don't know, it's all up and down here.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, in that abundance, I'm both getting financial investment, which is amazing, but also deciding, so I mean, my question really is like, where is the best use of both the financial investment, but also now my time investment? Because I, like many here, tons of pots all over the stove, and I've been doing really good of limiting those pots, but also determining, okay, now that I will have more resources behind me, where do I focus between, I have 2 small children, between husband, between life, between work, between even the parts of my work that I can choose which pot to focus on. And I know how to do that now, but so both in terms of finance, but as well as time.
Yeah, makes perfect sense. So if I were to crystallize this question, it's like the ecosystem of Kristen and all the time and money you have and all that ecosystem needs to flourish around you. How do you best take your resources and make sure that they are applied for the whole thriving ecosystem? Is that right?
Yeah,
something like
and
this?
leading to more abundance. That's
Right.
the idea. Like I want to move out of scarcity,
Sure.
and really move into a place that every minute and every dollar that I turn in come back
Yeah.
many-fold, so
Millions-fold.
we'll take it.
Yeah. I remember asking the angels, maybe they told me or I asked them, but they told me money is an infinite resource. And I was like, how is that possible? It's actually not an infinite resource. And they said, it is. Think about it. And I was like, they showed me, it's as long as it circulates, as long as it gets reinvested. And that's one of the problems of the global economy is it's being hoarded by a few rather than circulated amongst the many. So what I'm getting to talk to you about is where and how to invest your time and money in your world. And they want to cover 5 areas. 1 is family. 2 is, I just get wealth, growth. The 3rd one is time. The 4th one is happiness. You ready for the 5th one? Yeah, you came here and you asked in front of everyone, sex. So here's the journey we're going to have. We're going to go backwards to get sex out of the way. Yeah, it is a life force energy. And I am a big advocate for decolonizing ourselves from sexual energy is only allowed to be expressed or received or displayed here and not there, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Like, that was designed by 12,000 years of patriarchy that ensured that a woman's womb was owned by a man so that his land could pass on to her. That's how this began. And we can just transcend that by knowing that when we have an energetic flow that's sexual, that we can follow it, even if we don't act on it outside, we can be with it and we can circulate it for ourselves. We can use it to create art. We can turn it towards finding things and manifesting things. And I just get that turning on your sexual energy to the next level, I'm not going to get into whether you're have it on or not have it on, we'll leave that private. But I'm just saying, wherever you're at, if you just have to knock it up a few notches, however you want to do that, because you're not in energetic communication with the universe and the flow when you're not. So I've been single sometimes for 2 years, and I've just been in a self-pleasuring journey or just allowing myself to feel awake and aroused and see where that energy takes me and using it to create art and beautiful music, dancing in my living room by myself. Just keeping the sexual energy alive is so important. And I just get that there's such a masculinization in your world of everything that you have to do, even with your kids and family. Like, you don't get to be in the feminine with your partner or with your kids even. And so getting that juice going is something that I'm just getting, literally every person in the room needs to hear this. Like, I need to hear, everyone needs to hear this. Is like, that life force energy is a magnet, it's a real thing, it's how everything in nature communicates and knows where to be and what to do and how to, so finding it for ourselves, I'll just direct this to the entire room, is just find a way to knock that up a few notches and do it for you so that you're in your full life force, more so than who you're with or where it goes or if it's this person or that. So I'm getting that's the number one thing that would open up a lot of flow for you and for all of us, literally all of us. And then we're going to go back to the top. So we're going to talk about family. Two kids, and young. One much younger, one sort of middle young. Okay, and I'm just getting that they both need one-on-one time with you where it's only you and them and you're like on their level and doing the things that they think are interesting and cool, and you kind of lose yourself in the time and space. Like, time and space go away and you're just melted in with them. I get even 5 minutes a day. If it's just like a little bit of a connection that is all about their world, and you go into their world and you forget you're a grown-up and you forget anything and you just go like, oh, this crayon is the most interesting thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Let's see what we can do with it together. Now we're doing this together. Like, surrender into their world, leave yourself behind and be their age doing their thing. If even 5 minutes a day, but ideally like 20 minutes a day with both of them, change everything for your family. They will be getting nourished in ways that are way more important than the list. And making sure they get their broccoli, it's way more important. They need that dose of connection, of real, deep, authentic connection. So I get that's the main thing you need to do is with your family, is turn on this immersive experience with your two children individually, like not when the other one's around in their individual world. Their cup will be overflowing and they'll just be happier, more natural, the family will flow better. So I'm getting that's like one good nugget for the family. The second one, the wealth growth, you have a model that's been working and you keep doing new iterations of the model, and it keeps working, with slight tweaks each time, they are recommending a brand new model. That there is a completely different thing than what you're doing, related, and it's not about bringing in more authors or bringing in more money connected with books. It's about bringing those books to something else. Like, you now have this incredible group of people and intellectual property. Where does that have value in the world that's mutually beneficial for you, for the authors and the books, and whoever would benefit from it? And I was just they're getting me to share this. I was at a conference in New York where a woman trains people to do TED Talks. I don't know if you've seen this documentary. It's called Big Stages. She trains people to do TED Talks, and then they did a documentary on it, and it won at Cannes. And now she's going to different organizations and bringing all of her speakers there to speak on all these stages all over the US. So she took the group that she created and created new value as a paid speaking tour of these groups. Something like this. Does that make sense? Okay, awesome. You've created an incredible amount of value, and now you need to find who wants that and wants to pay for it, and everyone benefits. Okay. And then for time, you have to schedule in 3 times a week, 2 hours that are consistent, like 2 hours on Tuesday morning, 2 Wednesday afternoon, 2 Friday afternoon, that have nothing, which seems crazy. And in those 2 hours, you introduce the feminine flow without having anything scheduled in it. And you will get a whole bunch of masculine things done in it. But it'll be in a flow way rather than a hammering through the to-do list way. And you keep them in there and you let your team know, like, these are in stone, don't fill them. But when you get there, you'll be like, I know what I need to do with this. I gotta read this proposal. It's so clear, and now I have the space. You're not like, where is the space? When you make that space, it will get filled in organically. And you'll be able to do in those 2 hours in the feminine way what would take 6 hours in the masculine way if it was on your to-do list. I just get, if you restructured it that way, you'll just be like, oh my God, those 2 hours always get the most work done somehow. So I just get that would really help you and balance the feminine and masculine. And the last one is happiness. I love this one. You are pretty happy. I get you're 95% about as happy as you can be. And they want you to know what a huge thing that is. It is really hard for people to be that happy that often. And it is infectious. And it is the thing that can take this new model and operationalize it. The people that you could bring this group of people in IP to, they respond to your happiness. And you kind of take it for granted and don't think of it as a huge asset, yet people want to work with people. They want to work with you because they always feel light, there's a brightness. You make the mundane fun. Let's say you have 10 authors and 10 books, they maybe have 50 organizations like that, but they don't have you as the interface, as the structurer, as the hostess, so really know that you are the huge asset that can take this incredible group and bring them to a new opportunity because of you. Yeah. How does all that feel?
As long as I don't have to have sex, I'm good.
It's not fair. Yeah, I've definitely had my year, right? Sexual energy is not about actually having sex. Although I'm a big fan of great sex. If you can do it that way, great. And that involves another person in time and space, but running your own sexual energy, our mutual friend gets up and does a striptease for herself in the morning to get it going. We see her power. We see what she does in the world. She's flowing. Yeah. And she's not having sex with anyone right now. Okay, thanks. Okay, so put up hands who's left. Okay. There's 2 really people. So let's see if we could do a shorter one. Let's see if it's possible. Maybe I can try to get 2 in. We'll see what it is. Yeah.
Hi. Thank you so much for doing
pleasure.
this. This is really, really great. I'm not so much of a business owner, but I'm my own boss.
Yeah.
I'm an artist and a writer. Actually, I just finished a book which was partly channeled and needs. So I would love to speak
Another
to it.
channel. It's a room
Yeah.
of channels.
A while ago, still figuring out how to, if I should self-publish or just go the classical route. And right now, I'm also writing a screenplay, which has gotten some interest, but I would like to do a rewrite because it needs something more. And I wonder if, because it holds also a vision for a new world, if my guides or the angels have something to say to point me in the right direction of what it needs. If there are specifics, I welcome those. So yeah, and how to optimize my time better, because I feel I'm wasting time, but maybe that's an innate thing.
Like a lot of writing and a lot of creations happening, but you're not sure if it's taking you where you're supposed to be going, or you're creating enough meaning in the world with your effort.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who feels that question? Yeah. Again, this seventh ritual in the Living from Inner Clarity took me years to design it as a way to ask the universe, what's my next step? What's my next step? And saying it every night before you go to bed will reveal the steps that, make it beyond a shadow of a doubt what you're supposed to do. It really is a process of asking and then seeing and then acting, asking and then seeing and then acting. And that book tells you exactly how to do it. And again, it's only like a 4-hour read, so I would highly recommend that. And then they'd love to give you a couple nuggets, though, to get you started so that you don't have to wait for the signs. But after that, you're going to need that, right? So I can't tell you the whole path. It's kind of like each step reveals itself, and there's a natural process. But you definitely write from the hyperfeminine in that you just let it flow from you. And it's a really beautiful, I just see me dancing like you write the way I dance, which is just total surrender and totally letting it flow. And that's really beautiful. And a lot of people don't have access to that. And so it's like not something to stop or end, but you need to hand that to an editor. Like you need someone else. You can't do it. It's not your way. And there are people that can do it. And you can do it as simple as you could go on Fiverr and do as an experiment and give it to 2 or 3 people and just see what they come back with, just to see how other eyes would structure your work. Even if you don't ever use it, and if it's not even that good, it's an iteration. And you could talk to someone like Kristen, or you could actually seek out someone that people say is a reputable editor, and find out, here's what I have. What's the packaging here? And that's Kristen's zone of genius, is she knows how to look at someone's work and say, oh, the through line is this. And I had a few editors help me structure my books, like my memoir. One of my editor was like, why don't you make each chapter an experiment on intuition, since each story is seeking out some sort of answer and getting an intuitive answer and then following it and finding out what happens. Each chapter does that. So each chapter title became an experiment. And as soon as she gave me that structure, the book took form. All of these random stories over years and years that I was just getting out of me. And I had 350,000 words, I think, and the book is 90,000 words at the end of the day, right? So I had all of this. And then when I got that structure, I was like, oh yeah, these are the potent stories where each chapter would tell how a piece of intuition works. And then the whole thing took structure. So I don't get that you can do that for yourself. I get you need someone else to do that. And I do get that you could experiment with Fiverr just to see what people suggest. But that before it would ever be published, you would probably talk to a publisher or work with someone that has a proper editor to make it into a very viable product, but that you have really good work and it's totally on your path to do so. Okay, great. And then we'll finish with this question up here.
Thank you so much.
Such a pleasure.
It's really a treat to have you.
No, it's me too.
I have a very special relationship with my angels. So
Good.
I don't channel like you guys,
right.
but I
You
love them
feel
so much,
them?
and they've been really, really supportive.
Aw.
They keep on turning on my television as well.
They do
for no
things like
reason,
this.
which is
They-
sometimes annoying when you want to try to sleep, but
Fair.
whatever.
Sometimes when you're sleeping is the only time you pay attention.
Exactly. That's what it felt last night. I'm a jewelry designer and I'm an author,
Oh,
and
great.
I really believe that it's all about energy. So everything that I do is really focused on that and helping people manifest.
Great.
I launched my line last year, and everything has been flowing. Like I really see like the doors slowly are like being opened, and the path is laid out in front of me.
Yep.
But I really would like to step up and really step into my divine feminine, because I know that this is what's going to level up my business. I still feel like I need to like hide and like, oh, I don't want to step on these people,
Sure.
like on people's toes and how they're going to feel. And I feel like as women, sometimes we have that tendency to be like, oh no, don't look at me, look at the other one. Like, oh yeah, like I'm just doing this little thing. How can I and we all like really step into our own power without feeling like, oh, I'm going to hurt that person's feeling if I'm shining too bright?
This is such a beautiful question to end with. Has anyone ever felt this? Like literally every single hand went up. So this is a perfect question that can unite all of us, because again, we've had 12,000 years of patriarchy that says that your gifts belong in service of this system. And to freely and fully express exactly who you are is exactly the opposite of what that system was set up to do. So we are breaking genetic codes of thousands of years of survival by making choices that follow the inside path and not outside structure, right? And so we all feel it is the most important thing. I feel it. I feel it with every next move I make. I feel it, and I have to do some sort of cry or journaling. Or I just went to a retreat in Panama where the whole week I was talking with everyone like I'm going to come back and be on the stage and do this thing I've never done before. And what if someone asks me a really mean question? What if I just was like opening yourself up to an audience when I've always done this work intimately. There's a reason people do this in an ashram. Right? You're so sensitive, and now there's 100 people here. And so I even just went through this and came to the, if they are mean, I'll just be like, this is, we're gonna move on. This is the wrong classroom for that question. This classroom's about this. And I came up with my plan of what I was gonna do if the worst happened. And that's always been my way. I think about the worst thing that could happen, what I would do with it. I know what I'm gonna do, put it up on a shelf and assume it's not gonna happen, but take it down if I have to. So having said that, I'm getting there's three main things that we could all learn right now that we can make sure that we are doing the thing that's in our path and we're doing it in a way that's graceful for others but not against ourselves, right? And wouldn't that be the sweet spot? We're coming into our full expression. We're doing the step we're supposed to make. We're being as graceful and considerate, but not to the point that we go against ourselves. Like such a sweet spot. So the first thing is that you need to recognize that it's a step you're supposed to take. So being confident about the step is the first thing. I always tell people, don't think about the how right away. Avalanche of overwhelm, right? Like I remember getting the guidance that I was going to go get my PhD, and I was like, how? I mean, how am I going to not work? Who's going to pay for that? Where am I going to do it? When am I going to get a PhD? And I'm done with engineering. So it's not the how. I just sat for 3 days and was like, if I found a PhD I liked in a place I wanted to be, would I want to be in school more? And I was like, I love school. So then I was like, okay, I've connected with the North Star of a PhD. And then all of a sudden, 20 people in 1 week mentioned Hawaii to me. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to go there. I never been there, never wanted to go there, showed up there. When I got there, I found out about a department I'd never heard about, Future Studies, that was all about designing the future for sustainability, a word no one even knew yet. And I was like, that's my department. I couldn't even come up with that. I didn't even know it existed. I had to go on the emergent journey of each step showing itself to me. So the most important thing is recognizing that it's a step that you need to take. I knew I needed to do a PhD. When I tried on not doing it, I felt collapse. I felt empty. I felt like I wouldn't, like a loss. And when I tried on doing it, I felt an expansiveness. So first thing is just find out if it's a step that's calling you and it feels right. And I always love trying on not doing it and see how that feels. And then you can be like, I know this is crazy, but I tried on not doing it and I cannot not do it. So be sure of the step without thinking about how. And then because most of those things that are the most scary, that are calling us, that feel like they might be the most disruptive, are the ones that don't have a plan or a path or a precedent, right? So you have to open yourself up to signs and the next step. Again, that book tells you exactly how to do that because it's beyond what you know. If you knew what or how to do it, then it wouldn't be scary. So if it's scary and overwhelming and seems like too much or too big and it's going to ruffle feathers, as Taylor Swift says, you're doing something new and important, and right? And so you really do need to be a discoverer, a learner, open your curiosity, look for signs, get curious, interview people, ask people that are doing something like it, ask the people that you think it might serve, like, would you want this from me? Or, what do you think my gifts are? Or if I did something like this, do you think it would be good? Would you pay for it? Like, get curious and start exploring. So that's the second thing, is like really meet it with curiosity rather than trying to make a plan. See if there's a plan that can show itself to you rather than you making a plan to accomplish it. Hold it as a North Star and then make yourself available to what curiosities, where is it going to take, what research could you do, who could you ask, what signs are coming to you, what dreams, and see that, the next step. And then the third thing is just this rule of thumb that I want to share, that if you know it's the right thing and you know this is the next step, then taking it is definitely going to have some people fall away and some people come to you. There's going to be an identity death of you, and that's going to cause a change in the field if that doesn't meet that new vibration anymore. And I'm just getting that if we held that as a beautiful and natural process, like we've just grown apart, our paths are different now, that bothered her, and so we just recognized that she needed to be over there and I needed to be over here. We need to be way more comfortable in not being forever homes for each other. And that this is a reason, season, or a lifetime. I call people a journey mate. There's people I go in very deep with that are meant for this journey. We're supposed to be, I lived in Portugal for a year. I had specific friends there for a year, and then I left and we don't talk anymore. And it's not because we don't love and adore each other, it's just that phase is over. So if we all just accepted that, I know this is the step I'm gonna do, it's really shown me that this is the next one, it feels right and I'm gonna do it, and there's going to be loss and inner and outer death of something, and there's going to be glimmers of new resources coming, then we are living like nature. Like machines try to create permanency and control over how things flow. Nature takes the next step, lets things die, lets new buds come in, migrates the seeds over there, tries a new hybrid. Like, if we are flowing more like nature without these story overlays that this is bad or this is good, and this is just the next thing calling me, and I let the chips fall where they may, then we're actually being our natural selves. And that's how we transcend patriarchy. When we allow ourselves to be nature and let things come and go as nature would, as what feels natural, without the stories of that's good or bad or you're a failure or success. Like, that's when we actually take the cognition that we have that no other animal has, and instead of using it to overwhelm our intuition and shut it down, and we use it to work with it, then we've taken our cognition and now we have the best of all of us. How does that feel?
That feels good.
Exciting.
Just got to take it to the next level now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think hold the North Star that you're ready for change and use some of those tools like on my website or in the books, and pick the one that most resonates with you and use it, and watch the field show you exactly. There is a current calling you that you're supposed to be in.
Oh, it's not even a choice.
Totally.
It's been like
Right.
pulling me.
Exactly. And so with a few tools, you can actually ask to be shown what that is and specifically know the next step. And that's why I always say don't ask for the end game, ask for the next step. It always be like, the next step is I just need to rest right now. The next step is I need to make this phone call I'm curious about. And then those next steps add up to the change eventually.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you so much, everyone. This was really lovely.